What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm obviously here on Need for Speed Unbound. Now there's a few different things I did want to go over that I do think can actually work in Motorfest. I'm also going to do like vice versa because I do think both games can benefit from each other. Or I guess at this point it's most likely going to be the franchises. Now I am going to go over a few things here that Need for Speed Unbound did honestly pretty dang good in making the game actually feel alive. The first one here is going to be some of the pedestrians that are indeed walking around the map. Now, I do know a lot of players are going to be like, yeah, okay, Block, that's obviously not a feature we need or indeed want, but let's be honest though, I have seen many people discussing this. A little impatient there, bud? And it's a Ford Explorer, which obviously could be a cop car, but a lot of players are looking for something like the AI just walking around to make the game feel more alive than it currently is. We do know right now in Motorfest you obviously do not have pedestrians walking around. We also do know in Unbound, like the cartoony thing that was in this game obviously wasn't probably taken that great, although I have to admit it really wasn't nearly as terrible as I thought. I also do like the fact that we are going to have pedestrians walking around like this. In an aspect though, in like a big city like this map being like Chicago, you are most likely going to be like, yeah, imagine this map having no AI whatsoever. Like just for a second guys, imagine nothing walking around this map, how pretty much dull it would most likely feel. You are going to be in like a huge city, for example being in Honolulu, or something like that being like a big city not seeing anybody whatsoever. Even the AI actually look at you in this game, which is honestly pretty dang awesome. I'm not saying it's going to be like a revolutionary thing, but making the game feel more alive and probably making people actually feel like they're in like a racing environment. Even having something like pedestrians walking around is honestly a pretty dope feature. Now, I do have to admit right now, this one is probably going to be a pretty odd one, but I have seen people talking about this one pretty frequently in the recent comments, and also in different forums and stuff like that, and basically discussions. But would you guys like to see updated traffic in the Crew Motorfest compared to what it is now? If you are wondering what I mean by this, it is going to be updated vehicles in the traffic itself. For example, right now we are going to have the Infinity right here, which you can clearly see is an Infinity. After that, we're also going to see something like a BMW M3 there, and also like a GMC Denali, which is honestly pretty insane. It is kind of cool that they actually added legit traffic into the game that you can notice, and most likely seeing cars that you're probably going to go, oh yeah, there's like a Nissan, or even there's like a BMW, or like, holy crap, we actually have a GMC in the game. I would say having like newer vehicles is honestly pretty dang awesome. And to many players, I would say they're going to be like, yeah, okay, blocked. I do like the AI like thing walking around, but really, do we actually need updated traffic in the game? I would say in some way a lot of players are probably going to agree that we most likely don't actually have to have this. That is a lot of infinities. My goodness, I think people like them. Now that is not going to be like the biggest thing that we obviously need in the game right now to make it better. But my goodness though, having like updated cars driving around might honestly be pretty dang cool. And I would say having like old vehicles that you may not recognize, like in certain areas of Motorfest you can see cars that might look like a Subaru. We also seen things like that happening in the Crew 2 to where you could probably tell that's going to be like a Dodge or something, but it obviously is going to be like an off-brand vehicle like we would see in GTA. Even right here, we're going to see like this express van, which is honestly pretty cool. You can also see like the main detail of each vehicle in this game. Don't get me wrong, guys. I do know Need for Speed has its issues, which obviously every game does. What is that? Is that a block to... Okay. But even though that truck did not load in at first, it almost looked like a Cybertruck from that angle, but you can tell this thing is a Ford F-150. There is also going to be another one right behind me basically driving around there. And there is going to be one right behind there as well, plus like a Dodge there. So I wouldn't say it's going to be like a necessary feature, but I have to admit though, having updated traffic in a racing game is honestly pretty interesting. It also shows, I guess, in some ways that the game might end up having some life to it. But I would like to know what you guys think about the updated traffic. Like, would you actually like to see that? Also, right now, I think I can admit for everybody that most players probably don't want to see that right now, but obviously other things being fixed, which I can definitely see that being a thing right now because we do need it. Now, the last thing I did want to include on the first part here is probably going to be a pretty funny one. That is also going to come down to the license plates here in Need for Speed being better than Motorfest, at least for right now, that is. Hopefully in the future we are most likely going to see more customization on them. But for this game though, guys, you can change like the main background to pretty much any state you live in. For me, I obviously do live in Florida, so I did end up putting that plate on it. but you could do something like Kansas, Nebraska, and obviously Oklahoma and so on. We also have something like New York and Georgia and stuff like that, which is dope. And then on top of that, though, you can also edit the main text of the license plate itself, which we do know back in the Crew 1 you could obviously change around the license plates, but you could not change the text of them, which I would say is probably needed. And then the final upgrade is going to be the mainframe thing here, which obviously many people, even in real life, do end up running something like this on their vehicles. So having something like this in a racing game like Motorfest would be amazing. On top of that, imagine being able to customize the entire plate, pretty much just as it is right now in Need for Speed Unbound, or like, any previous Need for Speed title. Now, I do want to mention, though, I will be doing more parts to this video because I do feel like there is more things we can definitely do in every single game, like not only Need for Speed, but also in Motorfest or even other racing games in general, that I would say some features in each game could work in other ones. I will also be doing some stuff in Test Drive Unlimited, coming up here soon.